What's your problem? What's your problem? I don't get what your problem is.
Hi, my name is Jason.
And I'm Kaylin.
Welcome to What's Your Problem, where we discuss current issues in distance learning and education. Today we're going to talk about a word you've no doubt heard, but perhaps aren't quite sure what it means: accessibility. In education, accessibility refers to the process of ensuring that the learning environment and its contents are barrier-free for all students. But what do we need to look out for, and how do we ensure that a course is accessible? For more on this, we turn to Adam.
Thanks, Jason. To be clear, accessibility is not a problem like other issues that we typically discuss in this series. It's a set of standards and best practices for allowing students and faculty the same access to educational experiences and services, regardless of visual disability, auditory impairment, limitations in dexterity, and a range of other obstacles that may get in the way of the traditional learning experience. It's also important to note that these standards and practices, when implemented correctly, greatly improve the experience of students who don't require accommodations. However, making sure your course is accessible can be a difficult task. It's a daunting prospect to have to understand how a slew of different disabilities can impact the way in which a student experiences the course, as well as the hundreds of standards that govern the creation of documents, presentations, websites, videos, interactive games, and other resources. Not to mention the fact that you're being asked to recognize and in some cases correct accessibility issues when they arise. Luckily, our distance learning department puts a lot of effort into ensuring that the RTTs that you teach are accessible. Your online course is built in an accessible LMS. It contains learning resources that were either tested or created by the people in our office to make sure they meet accessibility standards, and we are constantly assessing and adapting our practices in this area. But what about the resources you want to add to your RTT? That timely article that was just published, the video your colleague just showed you that perfectly illustrates a point brought up in the discussion, the slideshow presentation that you just developed and delivered to your face-to-face section. How can you make sure that these are accessible before you make them available to your online students? Jason and Kaylin?
Those are some fantastic questions, Adam. Let's start with the type of resource that is a great student engager and effective way to break up all the text in a course. Media. The two main types of media resources utilized by instructors are videos and podcasts. It should be noted that each of these mediums has different accessibility standards to follow. Schoolcraft College follows WCAG 2.0 AA for accessibility. According to this standard, synchronized captions are provided for all non-live web-based video and all live multimedia that contains audio. The addition of closed captioning ensures that a student's screen reader will accurately portray what is happening in the video. In our RTT master courses, all video should already be captioned. However, if an instructor decides to add video content to their individual sections, please keep the following in mind. You can start off by searching on Google for only closed caption videos. This ensures you'll only be searching through the videos already accurately captioned, which you can directly add into your sections. Another quick search tip takes place in YouTube. You can add a CC to the end of your search topic to find videos already captioned directly within YouTube. In regards to audio files, think podcasts. According to WCAG 2.0 AA, a descriptive text transcript or audio description audio track is provided, and audio descriptions are provided for all content if the video conveys content visually that is not described in the original video audio. Basically, you need transcripts for all audio files so students who have hearing impairments can accurately understand the information being presented.
Thanks, Kaylin. Making media accessible is pretty easy to wrap your mind around, but what about all the documents that you link to or add in your course? Documents like spreadsheets, presentations like PowerPoint, and PDFs all need to be accessible too. The good news is that the rules for keeping most documents accessible are the exact same rules for keeping a Mogwai from becoming a gremlin in the incomparable film Gremlins. First, no bright light. Avoid unnecessary transitions and animations, and be aware of color contrast. Animations are fun, but they're usually just a distraction, and they don't really emphasize the point you're trying to make. In terms of color, make sure the contrast between the text and the background is very, very clear. Second, don't overfeed it by placing images and text wherever and whenever you want. When designing a document from scratch, consider using one of the many templates available in the software. Explore all the different ones available and pick the one that works for you. Once you select one, keep the text boxes and design as they are. These templates are designed so that someone using a screen reader would hear the information in a certain order. Also, include alternative text for any images you include in your document. Every document software has a simple process for adding alternative text, or alt text. Alt text describes the image for someone who is unable to see it. Alt text should be concise, and it should be articulating the image and its purpose. Finally, don't water it down by just scanning something and dropping it in your course. A document you scan is not accessible. Scanned documents, even if they're saved as a PDF, are seen as just one big image by a screen reader. Conversion software exists like Acrobat Pro, where you can actually take a PDF that may not be accessible, run it through, and be able to convert it. The key criteria for an accessible PDF document are that you can perform a search within the document for certain words, and you can copy and paste text out of it. If you can do those things, then you probably have an accessible document. An additional rule of thumb is that if you have the option between a PDF and an HTML version of something, always go with the web version over the PDF.
Wow, now that is some information to bookmark, Jason. And in the end, you may find yourself wanting to know more about accessibility in the online environment and how you can be assured your courses or other sites are 100% accessible by everyone. Well, you're in luck. Our DL organization has some informative resources for your perusal. Find the accessibility page link in the main navigation menu to click through our very own digital accessibility handbook. This will help you zero in on specific instructions, programs, or sites that will help your course achieve full accessibility. There is also access to download an accessibility checklist to help you find the most common accessibility issues that may be in your course. And finally, there are several additional resources that can help you to provide accessible content digitally.
So, in conclusion, creating an accessible course can be a difficult task, but it's an important one. Starting from an accessible master course like the RTTs created by Schoolcraft's Distance Learning Department relieves much of that burden, and Kaylin and Jason have provided some tips for making sure any additional content is accessible as well. For media resources such as podcasts and videos, it's important to know how to find and assess the quality of captions and other descriptors. When creating or incorporating documents and presentations, make sure they were created using a template and follow a basic set of accessibility guidelines. And perhaps most importantly, familiarize yourself with the resources available to you. It's okay not to have all the answers. There are cheat sheets, online tools, and actual people who can help you make your course accessible to all of your students.
What's Your Problem wants to hear from you. If you have an idea you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, or if you just want to drop us a line, send us an email or follow us on Twitter.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.
What's your problem? What's your problem? I don't get what your problem is.
Welcome to Schoolcraft. Welcome to college.